What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Pick Six Podcast, CBS Sports Daily NFL Podcast. I'm Will Brinson. I'm your host, and we are running, we're running exactly 35 minutes late or than we planned because of a lightning delay. That's right. Baldwinsville, New York has a tarp over it, but it's actually not indoors. Ryan Wilson's house, not indoors. So we had a lightning delay in Baldwinsville, New York that cost us to be late. This is the Monday Night Football recap. It is Tuesday, October 5th. The Chargers just took care of the Raiders 28-14. Do you think we're just out? Do you think we're not excited for this recap? Because we are. I'm always excited when the Chargers take down the Raiders. For the hashtag for the brand or whatever.
We started 35 minutes late because Brinson need to write new Derek Carr material, new ways to take down Derek Carr. So this could literally just be Brinson talking for 30 minutes and saying that Derek Carr's first 3 weeks were a fluke, right, Brinson? Is that?
I made some inroads on trying to get unblocked by like a few members of the Carr family, so I'm not going to push my luck and blast him. But
you should send them Fig Newtons. That's how I
there was there was legitimately a 35-minute lightning delay on this football game, which is insane because, as John Gruden remarked to the official who was telling, by the way, John Breach, Ryan Wilson joining me, the game's indoors, but not really. The sides are open. It's like a canopy. It's actually, I'm excited to go out to the SoFi Stadium. We haven't been because you can't travel.
Here's the thing. You tweeted that out because you need the attention. If someone had got hit by lightning and died, you'd have been the first one tweeting, "Oh my God, why are they playing when there's lightning?"
So like a player would get hit by lightning?
Anyone. Doesn't have to be a player. Anyone in the stadium gets
hit.
They
were still broadcasting on ESPN, and the fans were walking around pounding waters and whatnot leading up to the game.
My point is that I'm fine with them delaying the game.
What's funny is that I'm sure during the architectural stage of this that someone said, should we close these windows maybe in case there's some lightning? And some other person laughed like, lightning in Southern California happens like twice a year.
But you can't get struck inside your house. Windows don't keep you from lightning.
No one's disputing that. And there's
you
open
just said
windows.
You put windows up. I mean, windows aren't stopping lightning.
Well, I'm saying you could make it a little more lightning safe.
Do you yell at your kids
if they're near
the shower during a lightning storm?
No, I don't. But my dad used to say that. My dad was like,
"Are we sure about that? I think it might be an urban myth."
Oh, no, you can get struck indoors. My dad used to also say, "Get off the phone." Like, remember the old school telephones that were plugged to the wall?
Get off the phone? Are you sure about that?
Am I sure my dad said that to me? I'm 100% sure.
I believe your dad said it to you. Are you sure you can be struck by lightning on the telephone indoors?
I never got struck, but that's what I was told.
That's like you're not supposed to use your cell phone around when you're pumping gas. I've never seen anyone catch on fire, but I don't do it.
I don't think it's a catch on fire. I think it's an explosion.
I don't want to be the guy who would explode. I'll tell you that.
It's not like you like
spontaneous combustion.
You know who spontaneously combusted tonight? The Raiders offense.
In the first half, not the second half.
Yeah,
I mean, the third
it was
quarter,
all garbage time. They're down 21-0 after they scored 14 points, and part of that I think was the Chargers playing a little bit softer defense. Part of it was Derek Carr doing Derek Carr things, and I'm sorry, but in these situations, the entire first half was like him throwing to Josh Jacobs, and he finally started taking some shots down to Henry Ruggs, who ended up with 3 catches for 60 yards. Darren Waller, 4 catches, 50 yards, and a touchdown. Hunter Renfrow, 645, and a touch as well. Carr, 21-34 for 196, 2 touchdowns and 1 pick. Justin Herbert was awesome. 25-38, 222, and 3 touchdowns, but he wasn't as awesome as our pal Austin Eckler. It was incredible in this game. 15 carries, 117 yards, 1 touchdown, as well as 3 catches for 28 yards and a score on a fantastic wheel route.
You want to hear a funny story?
Sure.
I was on HQ with Larry Hartstein and Brady Quinn, and Larry's a sharp. And he and Brady both like the over of 96.5 Eckler total yards, rushing and receiving. And I said, well, I'm going under because the last 8 times that Austin Eckler has played the Raiders, he has not come close to that number. So maybe Justin Herbert spreads it around. That blew up my face. As Austin Eckler remains really, really good. He was injured early, came back, and clearly he was not affected by that brief stint on the sidelines.
Yeah. And then you said to Larry, "Yo, Larry, I'm the sharp now because I am."
He pointed that out to me without my provoking him. I was like, "Oh, thank you, Larry. That's very nice of you."
Everybody knows Wilson. The secret's out. Cat's out of the bag.
Usually the guy shows up, he has facial hair, and he doesn't have any research. He just sort of spouts off.
43, 19, and 2. Ryan Wilson is against the spread.
That is wild. I think I had the Chargers too, so good for me. 6-11 for the week or something terrible. Yeah, and my props suck tonight. I'm sorry, guys. It was expensive. Well, I thought I almost snuck down a Parham as the first TD and didn't and bailed on it. Jalen Guyton should have. They had a bunch of touches, but didn't get the. Well, actually, you know what? I'm not going to make individual excuses. I will say this: that the way the game went with the Chargers, when the Chargers were up 21-0 at halftime, I knew I was screwed because you're not going to get the catches and the targets that you need for the Chargers guys if they didn't come during that stretch. Like I liked Mike Williams overs, and he should have easily gone over his receiving total because Justin Herbert blasted a free touchdown pass down the sideline. He put too much gas on it, and as a result, Williams couldn't catch it. If he puts any air on it, it's a 70-yard touchdown. But
he could have crawled to the end zone without getting touched.
Correct.
Like that's how wide open he was.
Damon Arnett, he absolutely obliterated him in coverage. Nobody cares about my losing bets.
And that was in the second quarter, in case anybody wants to go back and Game Pass and watch.
I had Hunter Renfrow anytime touchdown.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Good job. Did you have Hunter Renfrow anytime unbelievable special teams play?
That was 40 million to 1. I didn't bet it though.
Should have bet that. Is the bigger takeaway here, Wilson, that the Raiders are not as good as they looked in the first 3 weeks? Or is the bigger takeaway that the Chargers are, with Brandon Staley, who is a #sharp, are a very good football team?
The Raiders are who we thought they were, and they're 3-1. They won 2 overtime games, so it wasn't like they were blowing the doors off people. They needed extra time to do it, and they won those games. Credit to them. They're a really good football team. But I think the bigger story is the Chargers, and I'll keep coming back to this until something changes drastically. But my bold prediction before the season was that Justin Herbert could win MVP, as Breach noted, rightfully. You got to win the division to be the MVP if you're a quarterback or a running back. I guess it doesn't matter, but usually quarterbacks win this thing now. So this is a great first step because now they're top the division. The Chiefs are still in last place,
and they have a tiebreaker.
And they have the tiebreaker. And Justin Herbert is playing really, really, really well. No turnovers today. 3 touchdowns. He had 38 attempts, only 222 yards. You noted, Brinson, that there were some issues with the drops with Keenan Allen, which is something you don't see. The overthrow to Mike Williams. A lot of checkdowns, but again, that's Austin Eckler doing the heavy lifting for you. Jared Cook got involved as well. So I love where this team is. Brandon Staley's got this defense playing pretty well. There's still some things you have to work on, but this is where you want to be. The offensive line is, again, here's how you make your quarterback good. Because this team, when they drafted Justin Herbert, they drafted 6 overall, so they won 4 or 5 games, whatever it was. They said, okay, let's make the offensive line in such a way that our quarterback doesn't get murdered every time he drops back. And that's an issue for a lot of teams who are picking high in the draft. They don't have either the means or the capability to get the right guys to surround your quarterback with offensive linemen. Luckily, this was a good Chargers team that just had a bad year that year. But they needed to fix the offensive line. They did that. The defense is getting better. Derwin James back had a pick. I like this team a lot.
Yeah, I mean, the Chargers look like, I don't know what the numbers are betting-wise for them to win the AFC West, but you have to feel pretty good if you've made a preseason bet on them to win the AFC West. I mean, you look what they've done in the past 2 weeks. They won a rough and tumble game with the Chiefs where they held Kansas City under 25 points, which is not easy to do. And then they absolutely dominated the Raiders. And I have to think this team is much better than the Broncos. It feels like on paper, they might be the most talented team in the division on both sides of the ball because the Chiefs defense has been a laughingstock through 4 weeks. I think they've given up the second most points and the second most yards. And obviously we know the Chiefs offense is strong, but they don't have a defense. And so when you're talking about both sides of the ball, it feels like the Chargers are the best team. And now, feels like I don't think they're going to be the favorite in the division when we see new odds come out, but it feels like they should be.
This is me telling you, Breach, to go ahead and apologize for my bold prediction.
You do the coach move? Give it to me. Come on, give it to me.
Come on.
I don't know. I'm loving my Chiefs bet to win the division all of a sudden.
Well, you guys are so adamant. You know what's funny?
I was adamant.
Brinson was adamant.
I'm always going to take the Chiefs at like even money or minus.
But here's the thing, and I'm not blaming you. Everyone does this. like you're so sure in August that the team that's been awesome for so long, but every year 4 teams that make the playoffs don't make the playoffs next year, and every year we pick the same teams to go to the playoffs that went the previous year. Like we just can't, our brains can't think outside the box.
Well, that's just not true. I always pick somebody else to win the AFC West. I'm always wrong, and this year I finally picked the Chiefs, and now I'll be wrong again because I can't get the AFC West right. By the way, just realized this, a little bit of breaking news, as it is 12:34 Eastern time. Pete Prisco, happy birthday, buddy. Everyone, if you're watching on YouTube, go tweet at Prisco CBS. Happy birthday. I have no idea how old he is.
Is he 70 now?
He's 61, I think.
74?
61. I think last year was 60, maybe.
Yeah, he's 61. I will say this. I was thinking about Prisco right before you said that, which is curious, but he tweeted during the game, and the Dolphins took Tua over Justin Herbert. And I went to look, because sometimes Pete tweets things that he didn't actually believe in real time.
True.
I went back and looked days before that draft, who these teams should draft. That story he wrote at number 5, he had the Dolphins taking Justin Herbert.
Right?
And he said in this little description, I would not take Tua here. And he had Tua going to the then Oakland Raiders, which would have been hysterical if he's out there tonight. They'd have lost 65-0. But
jeez, God,
I know I got to take it easy on Tua. It's not his fault.
So yeah, I mean, look, Justin Herbert, bona fide MVP candidate. Derek Carr still up in the mix. Look at that. Happy 70th birthday, Pete Prisco. Hashtag learn the game.
Well, you know what's funny about Justin Herbert is that he went 5 of 13 for 47 yards in the second half, but it didn't matter because he played so well in the first half that you can totally ignore that. But I mean, we talked about the Mike Williams overthrow. He definitely left a few throws out there. I mean, the Chargers probably could have scored 42 points in this game. It wasn't all Herbert's fault.
They also had the fake punt too, where, I mean, Renfro's back there to return the punt and spots, oh God, who was it?
Tavon Campbell was the
Tavon Campbell,
receiver,
on the left side,
the gunner,
all alone, and he made the right call because you're getting rid of you're eschewing the punt return completely, and you're sprinting up to make sure that the fake doesn't get executed. He's walking in the end zone if Renfro isn't aware of what's going on in that spot. That's a big play. I mean, it ultimately didn't matter, but if they get that, it's just more points for the Chargers.
That's 100% a Derek Jeter play. That's some nonsense Derek Jeter would do. And you're like, what are you doing there? Why are you there on the field?
Yeah, if Madden doesn't bump his awareness up to like 97 after this game, then I don't even want to play Madden anymore.
I think I said after they drafted him, and that was the same draft class with Henry Ruggs, of course, I said, I think he's going to have more catches than Henry Ruggs in year 1, and I'm pretty sure he did.
Oh, yeah.
That play, though, I know Hunter Renfrow got all the focus and very deservedly, but that was kind of emblematic of what Brandon Staley is. I mean, he is a crazy coach, forward thinker. This is what Mike McCarthy says he was,
right?
But Brandon Staley actually is. Not only did he call that fake punt on 4th and 12, but you got to have onions to let your punter throw a pass on 4th and 12.
Let me ask you though, Bruce.
I would say it's not I would bet it's not a fake punt call.
Right.
It's a fake
punt. Right. The gunner's open. They'll let the team, like if you're at your own 10-yard line.
Remember Arizona against the Jaguars had a wide open gunner and didn't see, like the Jags didn't cover it. The Cardinals didn't see it. They didn't throw it. And it's a free touchdown.
Right. But some teams will say, hey, look, if it's beyond 4th and 5, we don't want you doing, like 4th and 12 is pretty crazy.
I think we're glossing over the fact that Brinson very subtly dunked on Breach for not knowing the special teams rules. Like Breach.
What are you talking about?
You're like, oh, that was a fake punt. Breach's like, no. Brent's like, no, that's not a fake punt. Come on.
It was a fake punt. If you were lining up for a punt and you do not punt it, it's a fake, Ryan, regardless of if it was called an audible on the field, it's still a fake punt. Right. My God. That is insulting.
I think everybody's dunking on it.
So is it just called a play then? It's not a fake punt? If the
you're the special teams coordinator.
It's an audible to a fake punt because the gunner's not covered.
I did think, I thought Joe Lombardi as Chargers OC did some really good stuff in terms of setting up Austin Eckler and setting up Jared Cook, Donald Parham. I was a little surprised he didn't attack the Mike Williams mismatch more. I mean, honestly, he was dealing with a guy who was literally 8 inches shorter than he was.
Trayvon Mullen went out, Damon Arnett went out, and they were down to Meek Robertson, who's really good, but he's a smaller guy. And then who's the slot corner from Illinois they drafted that was playing, and they were moving him outside as well. And so you were down to your cornerbacks 4 and 5, and it was sort of interesting. Although Louis Riddick did call it on I think it was the 4th down play, Breach. You talk about Brandon Staley being aggressive, and that 4th down play is an incredibly tough throw over the shoulder to Jared Cook. Amik Robertson, I think it was Denzel Perryman in coverage, and and it was a fantastic throw. It probably had a 15% chance of being completed because Denzel Perryman was close to breaking it up. But that's why you go for it.
And by the way, that play, 4th and 2 from midfield, the Raiders had all the momentum at that point. They had just cut a 21-0 lead to 21-14. If the Chargers fail there, then all of a sudden Vegas has the ball at the 50-yard line, and they just need 50 yards away from tying the game. So, I mean, that was a gutsy call.
And that's the perfect example of why if you're going to trust analytics, that's when you trust it. You don't trust it when you're up 50-0 and no one cares that you're going for a 4th and 2 at your own 37. That's why you do it to keep, to keep the momentum, even if momentum isn't a thing.
These two teams ended up being even on third down, both 4 of 13, which is really surprising. The Chargers, Anthony Lynn's Chargers team probably finds a way to lose this game.
There's no probably.
Definitely finds a way to lose this game, right?
Well, I mean, the 4 of 13s were like the Chargers, besides that opening drive, struggled on their first few drives.
Yeah, the
first bunch of punts.
It was just pretty.
But I would say at halftime, it was an absolute bludgeoning.
But it took about 2/3 of the way into the first half to get to that. I felt like because it was pretty slow going in the beginning.
Sure, yeah. I mean, they scored the last touchdown late. But but the whole time you felt like they were dominating that game.
Yeah, it just felt like, why is this only 7-0? It was 7-0.
0 yards in the first quarter.
Yeah, that's not good.
The Raiders had more penalty yards
in the first half.
They had more penalty yards than total yards in the first half.
Yeah, it's bad.
I did enjoy the Matt Canada 4th down play by the Raiders that lost 40 yards. That was something.
All right, let's take a quick break. We'll come back and talk some more Monday Night Football. Yeah, smash that like button, baby. For new hair plugs, I'm going to run for my bookie. According to some commenter.
Hey-o.
I didn't say it. I was making a joke about the. I'm not
come on now.
Done. Pretty easy to find, actually.
Your hair plug guy? Yellow Pages?
My hair plugs.
You think his hair plug guy is his bookie?
That would
That's
be awesome.
the twist.
Well, I was just. Oh!
So when he comes back half ball headed, that means he didn't pay his bookie. He ripped him out of his payment.
Looking like Hunter Renfrow.
Oh, I do. Whenever I bring up Hunter Renfrow on HQ, I always say Will Brinson's little brother with the receding hairline.
So I mean, the Raiders had. I thought you watched that game, and it was just very, very clear that the Raiders were. I don't know if they were.
They shouldn't play well. I mean, I don't think there's a huge. Is there a big takeaway? I think they're still a good football team. Okay, let's do this. Let's rank the.
I don't want to bash the Raiders.
Rank the AFC West.
That's the first time Brinson's ever said he doesn't want to bash.
No, I don't want it to turn people get mad because I turn into a Raiders bash.
I still think they're a good football team. Their defense is much improved from a year ago. I think Derek Carr just had an off night. It happens. So rank the AFC West.
I will take the Chiefs 1.
Jeez, what are you doing?
I mean, sorry.
Okay, don't apologize.
Chargers 2.
Come on. What are you thinking about?
Do you definitely like the Broncos more than the Raiders?
No. Are you crazy? They don't have a quarterback.
Oh, you definitely like the Raiders more than the Broncos.
Yeah.
Teddy just had a concussion. He can be back in. Maybe he's Devontae Adams. He'll be back in 15 minutes.
Yeah, that's true.
He'll probably be back this week.
Where are you going? Who's 3?
I will take the Broncos over the Raiders. I think the Raiders.
Good Lord. Yeah, Breach, he just said he doesn't want to badmouth the Raiders, then he makes them 4th. What's your ranking?
I'm trying not to badmouth them. I don't want to act like this is the end for the Raiders, but
my ranking is this the Raiders? The Raiders cannot score in the first quarter. They have 5 points in the first quarter this year in 4 games.
The Raiders have a +4 point differential.
Would you rather not score in the first quarter or the fourth quarter?
I would rather score in every quarter.
Fair enough. All right, go ahead. Who's your?
I would say, man.
Don't steal my thunder.
I don't want to put the Chiefs in second, but I just spent part of the podcast earlier doing it. So I'll put the Chargers in first, the Chiefs in second.
You said it.
The Raiders in third.
There you go.
Yep. Patrick K's got the same ranking as me.
Yeah. And
I would not be surprised if the Chargers won the division, but I will take the Chiefs until further notice.
One game. What notice do you need? The Chargers beat them.
I think it's Breach. Is that more surprising? I find that less surprising. I think it's more surprising that he has the Raiders in last.
Yeah, I mean the Raiders.
I think there's a pretty big gap between the Chargers and the Chiefs.
Did you guys see the Broncos play yesterday against the Ravens? I just don't know how the Raiders are the 4th best team in this division.
The Raiders have been living
play tonight.
Yeah, I did. I watched.
It looked good.
Okay. Well, send the hate mail to Brinson. That's all I'm saying.
The Broncos, we know, have a good defense and have looked competent on offense for a while. I don't know the Broncos are good. We'll see.
3 teams that have no wins, and then they didn't look competent against a good team.
We'll find out something.
They literally just lost 23-7 against the team the Raiders beat.
And more importantly, Vic Fangio was trying to badmouth John Harbaugh, and John Harbaugh cracking on him about
I
it.
know, that was hilarious.
I mean, the Raiders wins are a overtime win over the Ravens.
That's pretty good.
Okay. It's a good win, but it's overtime.
Yeah.
A win over the Steelers.
Wait,
Not impressive.
with that one.
Oh! And an overtime win over the Dolphins.
Terrible football team, but hey, it's a win. Where
and then they got pretty much like blitzkrieg by the Chargers.
Now do the Broncos.
I mean, I've acknowledged that the Broncos beat 3 bad teams. I'm just saying that if you're 3-1 with 2 overtime wins, and then your other win against is this garbage Steelers team.
I'm just saying 3 and not 4. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying they're 2 or 1.
I just think I think it's 1A, 1B, and I guess it would be 3A, 3B for me. I just think there's a clear split. It's Broncos and Raiders are pretty close. Chargers and Chiefs pretty close.
All right. I mean, that's fine.
Chargers beat the Chiefs.
You know what?
I'll revise my rankings and put the freaking.
You can do whatever you want.
Let's look at the strength of victory. The Raiders' strength of victory is 417. The Broncos' strength of victory is 167.
It's week 4.
So I'm just saying, if we're comparing the teams right now, we're not comparing the teams in week 10. We're comparing them after week 4.
Ooh.
I'm not. No, it's not a dunk. You don't compare strength of victory to week 4.
Well, I'm doing it. I just did it.
That's what a clown does.
We'll find out a whole lot next week when the Broncos face the Steelers.
And the Raiders have the Bears coming up. In 2 weeks, we'll get Raiders at Broncos.
There's Brenton's burner account, Matt Roxbury, saying the Raiders are bad. They're bad. They're last place. That's it.
They can't stop it. Their secondary is not good. The defense is
guys
a
are banged
better.
up. I mean, guys are hurt. They had 2 guys down. So
they get to play do they get to play the San Francisco 49ers? I want Trey Lance to light them up just to.
Casey Hayward actually is playing
The
really
defense
well.
is definitely better for sure.
Max Crosby, Cleve Farrell got a face mask today. You don't like to see that, but they have Solomon Thomas is playing well. I was just going through the list of
Max
names.
Crosby is a human. Cleveland Farrell had a face
Max
mask.
Crosby is amazing. What are you talking
Max
about?
Crosby's great. I'm just saying you're like.
Well, I was going through the
Raiders,
list of guys.
Cleveland Farrell had a face mask, so that's something.
Well, I was going to say he had a sack that I remember that it ended with him ripping the guy's face off. Austin Eckler, I believe. But Nate Hobbs was the rookie slot.
All right, the Raiders are 3-1. They have the Bears at home. Oh boy, at Broncos.
Andy Dalton might play in that game.
What is their record going to the bye?
If Andy Dalton plays, they win that game. Who are the next games after that?
Bears at Broncos. Eagles at home.
I mean, they're going to beat they're going to beat the Eagles.
They're 2-1 worst case there.
To Debo.
I don't think worst. They get 1-2 in those games.
Yeah.
I think it's probably either 2-1 or 1-2. I don't think 3-0 is definitely possible, but maybe they go 3-0 and then they're 6-1. And
I'll go 5-2. I'll go 5-2.
5-2. You're taking that every day of the week for a Raiders team that's been. Have they just been 500 every year? Or less than 500 with John Gruden. Less than 500, right?
Yeah.
But this is the team that gets off to a hot start and then collapses.
Yeah.
Last year they were 8-8
after starting
2-9, 4-12.
Oh boy.
Yes. So they've improved every year.
Yeah, there you go. So 5-2. I think you feel great about that. And what do the Chargers have coming up?
The Chargers have coming up.
The Raiders were 6-3 last year, by the way. You mentioned the 8-8, so it's, that was a collapse.
Yeah, that's kind of their move. They have the Browns at home and at the Ravens for the Chargers.
Now that'll be so. That's where Brinson's sticking with the Chiefs thing makes some sense.
Indeed, the Chiefs meanwhile have
the Texans twice.
Bills at home. Chiefs don't have a bye till week 12. Bills at home, at Washington, at Titans, the Texans twice.
Well, the Bills are next week.
Yep.
Lord have mercy.
Oh yeah, but that total. Breach and I said to bet it because it's probably going to go up.
Where's the game?
Kansas City.
Kansas City.
So it's going to be Chiefs minus 3.5.
Minus 3, I think.
God,
the over went from 57 up to like 59 already.
Take the under.
I think the point spread might be down to 2.5.
Ooh, spicy. Oh boy, I think
I wouldn't want to take that under, man.
Well, we need to know who Wilson's going to take because he picks everything right.
I know. As we've all noted, it's only
You
a matter
wanted
of
to
time.
take the Bills at 3.5. Now
He's
you
the
want to take
Oracle
Chiefs
of
at
Omaha.
2.5.
Yeah,
They have the Bills, then at Washington, at Tennessee, Giants, Packers at home, at Raiders, Cowboys bye.
I mean, so the Bills game and then the next toughest game, I think, is the Packers. If I'm
And then the
recalling
Cowboys.
Cowboys is pretty tough.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
They should win at minimum 4 of those.
Okay, here's
At
4.5 over under on Chiefs losses.
So it'd be 12-5 if you take the over. I will take the under on that.
Breach.
I'll take the under also.
Okay.
Knowing that they already have 2 losses.
Yeah.
I think they'll lose 2 more. I don't think they're going to lose 3 more.
All
I
right.
think they'll lose 2 more.
This is assume Patrick Mahomes does not get injured.
No,
They
when
would
you make
need
your
to get
bet, you
swept
make
by
your
the
bet.
chart. Yeah, of course. No injury. Mahomes, discount that if it happens.
Get out of
They
here.
would need to lose probably the Packers, Cowboys, and Bills, or Packers, Cowboys, and then you could drop one of the Raiders. And
But every game you just mentioned, all those tough games, they're all at home. The
Yep.
Bills, the Packers, and the Cowboys.
it's also possible that they have 4 losses going into week 18 and are locked into a certain.
You got to be careful about what you bet. Then I'm just saying.
That's why we're not actually betting with you.
Oh, okay.
That's what we take.
Yeah, so I think this says more about the Chargers than the Raiders. I'm not worried about the Raiders in so much as
I'd be worried about the Raiders.
they're still. I mean, they're a team that's we thought was going to finish probably third in this division, maybe second or third, depending on how you felt about them coming into August. And I think they're 2.5 out of 4 team in terms of rankings. You like them closer to the 4.
I just think it's crazy that
Just lost to the 2 or the 1. So.
the first 3 weeks, Derek Carr looked like an MVP candidate. And we always say, then he has one of those games. You finally get on the Derek Carr bandwagon, and then he crashes it. You don't crash
But was
it.
this a bad game for Derek Carr?
I mean, it wasn't
It wasn't a good
game.
one.
Yeah, it was like an average game.
I think it was more about the Chargers defense showing that they are a better unit than maybe the stats.
He
showed
was still
out.
21 to
Derek
34.
Derek Carr had big volume numbers against the Ravens, but he was 34-56 with 2 touchdowns and a pick and was sacked 3 times.
I mean, he looked like an all-star against the Steelers, but as you previously noted, the Steelers are doo-doo.
I don't want to bash Derek Carr or bash the Raiders just because they lost.
I'm not worried about
the
Derek.
game.
I'm not worried about Derek Carr. They had some injuries along the offensive line as well. Richie Incognito hasn't played. They lost Denzel Good. So, I mean, I'm not making excuses. I'm just saying
Making excuses, but that's fine.
they're short some guys.
I think he's had some volume stats in games where, like, they beat the Dolphins by 3, and they had 2 overtime games, and so it was like crazy, tons of second half plays, tons of throwing the ball around. If the Chargers had actually played like they did in the first half, his numbers could have looked awful.
Would you rather have on the Carolina Panthers Derek Carr or Sam Darnold?
Sam Darnold.
Whoa.
Derek Carr behind that offensive line would be a problem, man.
I'm going Derek Carr. All right,
Okay.
the New Orleans Saints, Jameis Winston or Taysom Hill if you want, or Derek Carr.
Derek Carr.
Brinson? Look at this guy. Can you believe
He's like
this
a
guy?
slightly more athletic. I think Darnold with the Panthers. I didn't answer that, but I think Carr with the Saints.
Oh, I
So
would,
you agree with Darnold?
Jameis
has not been very impressive, so fine, Derek Carr.
all right. What about Jimmy Garoppolo full health?
Wait, Wilson. What about you with the Saints?
I'm Carr
Okay.
on both teams.
What about Steelers? Big Ben or Derek Carr?
Derek Carr? No, I mean, I'm not even letting you finish the word. Big Ben.
Would you actually murder Big Ben on television to get Derek Carr there?
No. I'd shoot him in
You
the
don't
shin.
go to jail or anything, but you have to actually kill Big Ben.
I'd
Like
shoot
an
him in
old
the
yeller, not like a murder, like a sympathy kill. Like you have to take him
no,
out back of Heinz Field
behind the shed. behind the
Old
wood
yeller
shed.
him.
I'd shoot him in the shin with a BB gun on 4 pumps, not 10, but nothing more than that. What about Jimmy Garoppolo, San Francisco? Derek Carr?
Trey Lance.
Trey Lance is incapacitated.
And then so is Jimmy Garoppolo.
My point is that Derek Carr is not the problem.
I would agree with that. Derek Carr is not the problem for the Raiders.
Oh, what about this one? You're the Vikings. You're Mike Zimmer. You know who Mike Zimmer's going to take. But if you're
Mike Zimmer's taking anybody.
down the middle, Mike Zimmer, are you taking Kirby Cousins or are you taking Derek Carr on that team?
They're the same person.
No, I
That's
think Derek Carr's better. I think
Derek Carr's a little more athletic, I think.
they're pretty close though.
Yeah.
Derek Carr's more athletic. Honestly, probably throws a better deep ball.
Debo, if you're the Colts, are you taking Derek Carr or Carson Wentz?
You know the answer there.
Wow, he's taking
Derek
a guy
Carr?
with no
Derek
ankle.
Carr.
It's
Oh, you are? Oh,
Yeah, I mean, if you give me a full strength Wentz, but we haven't seen that in a long time.
what about Jalen Hurts or Derek Carr?
oh boy.
I'm riding with Jalen.
Yeah, I
No
think
matter
Jalen.
what. All right.
I mean, I'm generally going to lean to the young guy, the younger quarterback who's flashed upside over.
So you're going with Jalen?
I would go
Dope.
Jalen, yeah.
Okay, that's fine.
Tom Brady or Derek Carr?
Stop it. But my point is that,
Derek
like I said, Derek Carr's fine.
Yeah, he's not the problem. The play calling, I don't think the play calling was great tonight for the Raiders.
Well, you
we
sort of
don't
hinted
need to
at-
sit around here and hash out. Not one NFC team would want Derek Carr. Rick Devereaux says. So Rick is the same
NFC
West. team.
NFC
Oh,
West. Okay, I was gonna say
So Rick's the same guy who asked, when does this become a gambling podcast? Like, I thought it's always been
day one.
day one. Do we need to hash out this game any further?
No, I think we did a pretty good job. I'm leading the Chargers bandwagon for now. You guys are trying to hop on, and I'm not you, Brinson.
I love the Chargers.
I predicted the Chargers to make the playoffs.
I almost went Chargers Rams Super Bowl, but then Breach creeped on my business and backed me off of it.
You guys yelled at me when I did my Justin Herbert Bowl prediction. You yelled.
We said it wasn't bold enough.
No, Breach said, there's no way that's going to happen because the Chiefs going to win the division, and every time whoever wins the division, the quarterback wins the MVP.
I explained to you why it was unlikely, Ryan.
I was doing my Pete Prisco
And
imitating
then Breach
John
was
Breach.
like, my bold prediction is Patrick Mahomes wins MVP.
Yeah.
Let's see which place Ryan had the Chargers finishing in. Oh, look, second place. So
Ho, ho, ho! Up high, down hard.
Breach, you're still number one.
All right, let's get out of here. Sorry, the lightning delay, weird game, not very thrilling.
and for the record, we all had the Chargers making the playoffs.
Good, excellent. We will talk to you guys. Tomorrow coming out. Derek Carr, Matt Ryan. That's a good one.
Derek
Ooh.
Carr. That's not as easy.
I've had Dave Matt Ryan.
If Matt Ryan, if his last name was
Matt Ryan
Carr,
was on the Raiders. I think Matt Ryan would be slanging it.
Oh, no.
I don't know. Matt Ryan is look a little noodle arm right now.
Thank you. And he
Derek Carr,
talked.
and the Falcons. Derek Carr and the Falcons would be a problem, man.
That's another podcast, though.
That's another podcast. All right, we'll do the Derek Carr or somebody else podcast every 3 weeks for the next 10 years. In the meantime, we'll talk to you guys tomorrow.